So it's officially the offseason if you really want to put it that way, and there's been some moves. I'm not going to go crazy and say this is the craziest free agency period we've ever seen. As far as running back, it's up there. I will say there's some pretty big names on the move. Obviously, we'll get into those in a little bit, but the first kind of big move actually happened last night. I was going to do a rebuild for them, and maybe I still will, but it's going to take a lot of, if he plays well, you have to fix his ratings because Russ is really low overall in Madden right now. Let me actually look how low. He's a 75 overall, which is ridiculous. But speaking of that, if you guys want to see one of the teams that just made a big splash in free agency get a rebuild, or maybe you just want to see a rebuild of a team that didn't do anything, or they lost a bunch of players instead of gaining anyone, let me know in the comment section below. There's a good chance I rebuild the Packers tomorrow since it's my favorite team, and you could easily argue they had the biggest free agency, not just gaining, but losing, right? Losing Aaron Jones, gaining Josh Jacobs. Obviously, Savage isn't like a huge loss, but losing Savage, losing David Bakhtiari, losing Devondre Campbell, losing John Runyon, gaining Xavier McKinney. They probably had the biggest offseason so far as well, so it's kind of a fair team to do. But yeah, and if you guys like these types of videos, maybe leave a like. If these do well, I'll do more actual NFL talk stuff rather than just Madden because, well, Madden seems to be the way it is, and that's just the way it goes. But of course, Russell Wilson going to the Steelers, a pretty big move as obviously the Steelers have been struggling to get a quarterback since, Big Ben retired, or the year before Big Ben retired, to be honest, because that year they probably needed a new quarterback as well, and Kenny Pickett just hasn't been it. And Russell Wilson, he really did not play well for Denver, but there was a lacking of weapons, and that offense just seems bad. I can't really tell because Russell made a lot of defeated moves where he would just throw it into coverage. You just flip that thing to the defender, and he doesn't look like he's not trying, but I don't know, maybe the league and his age has caught up to him. I'm not sure, but the one thing that is for sure is it can't get worse with Russell Wilson. Can't wait for that to freaking age well. And he is going into a team with technically better weapons because they're more consistently not injured, I suppose. But yeah, that's really all there can be said about Russell. I don't think it's going to be a game-changing move that makes them a Super Bowl contender, but they might make the playoffs, right? I think the Steelers are one of those teams that just finds a way almost every time to make the playoffs, but who knows? I mean, Russell Wilson, if he goes back to his old ways, which is what Denver was banking on, maybe. They do have a lot of talent, so maybe. Then we move on to Zire Franklin. Some of these moves that, they're nice, but they're not the names we've been looking at. I mean, Zire Franklin, fair enough. There's a lot of names that kind of fall under the radar, if you will. So, this is going to be one of those names, in my opinion, although there's going to be Colts fans saying, what are you talking about? He's amazing. He's the greatest player of all time. But then you obviously have Chris Jones. I don't know if they even show it, but Chris Jones re-signing on a massive contract, obviously. And then obviously another big contract, Landon Dickerson. The Eagles finding a way to keep this line as much intact as possible. Obviously Jason Kelce retiring. Landon Dickerson's a great guard, but man, the money these linemen are getting. We've seen some money. Of course, Pittman, a 3-year $70. I mean, really, the Colts have been struggling to find receiver very hard, and obviously he is by far the best player there at receiver. I don't know if that's saying a whole lot, but for them, they obviously need to do something to keep him, and he got paid. And then DeAndre Swift, I don't think there's ever really been a question about is he a good player, but rather can he stay healthy. Going from the Eagles line to the Bears line is definitely a drop-off. You can see the money, though, especially in this market, isn't the worst. I don't know how it's actually structured. You would think it would be structured like front-loaded, but then again, it's a 3-year 24. It's not, it's not something you really have to lose sleep over, I don't think. But yeah, DeAndre Swift definitely had a career turnaround with the Eagles. And right now, even though we're going to talk about Saquon going to the Eagles, they really could just plug anyone in the Eagles O-line, behind that line, and obviously a pretty good pass attack. So it's kind of hard to tell what's going to happen with Swift, but it's a very good signing for Chicago, who just doesn't have a dynamic back in the backfield. They just don't have someone that's going to have a breakaway run. It's just not going to happen, right? Khalil Herbert, once upon a time, he was okay, but they need someone that can actually take the distance, make a big highlight play when the pass game is struggling, which it probably will again, no matter who they have at quarterback, whether it's Caleb or Justin Fields gets traded to the Raiders, which has been kind of like a move lately that has been kind of raising to the top. But it's a good move. It's definitely a good move. And then Dion Dawkins, I believe this was another huge contract. He's a very good tackle. Kind of gives me like Jake Matthews vibes, where he's not going to be the best tackle in the league, but he's definitely above average, and you like the consistency. That's what I see in Dion Dawkins, and that is not bad. What is this? Okay. Okay. Sorry that it's white mode as well. The reason why I don't have it on the dark mode is because I feel like it'd be a little bit better for a video to have it bright. That's what the YouTube algorithms always say. Make bright, colorful thumbnails. So I figured maybe the video being bright is good. Some of you guys are like, my eyes! And then you have Jonathan Grenard, a Madden franchise GOAT. Actually had a really good year last year, and it makes sense that he would sign for a ton of money. I'm going to actually pull up the number because it's actually crazy. It's a 4-year 76. And then a move that didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me unless they are trading Henry. And even if they are, do you really see it being the smart move with Tyjae Spears already on the roster? I don't know, but the Titans getting Tony Pollard, I don't know the money on that, but I think it's, the running backs are pretty much 8 to 10 mil per year, which is, kind of standard. Could you imagine the running back market a few years ago getting into this market right now? They'd be like, please. But yeah, I don't know if I see the Tony Pollard fitting with the Titans. Kind of feels weird. Kind of feels weird that he would be their premier back. Maybe they seen what they saw with the Cowboys and Ezekiel Elliott all those years and said, if we can get Derrick Henry back and playing for us, Tony Pollard as the backup would be sick. But I don't know. This one's the biggest head scratcher so far to me, in my opinion. And then Gabe Davis, the money actually kind of proves that, he's not the name everyone thinks of him as. When I think of Madden, Gabe Davis, I think of a guy that's really good, really sought after, but 3-year 39, which, hell, if I could ever see that money in my life, god damn. But for NFL money, we just seen that in-house Pittman got a 3-year 70, it proves that, Gabe Davis isn't quite the name, right? Made a lot of money off of that championship game against the Chiefs, but he's still a good player, and, there's some potential there. How many wide receivers do the Jaguars need? I don't know. And then probably I don't know if it's the biggest move, but this is a big move. Christian Wilkins going to the Raiders to join Max Crosby is filthy. That guy can move bodies on the inside, and that's the big position teams have been going for lately. It's obviously edge is a huge name. It's not a huge name, but a huge position. But interior, teams are hey, we need someone that can push the inside more than anything now. And Christian Wilkins with Max Crosby is going to be a problem. Can the Raiders actually bring someone in on offense, though, to actually make use of it? Because you can have the best defense in the world, but if you have that quarterback situation like they had last year, it don't matter who you got, right? It doesn't matter. Josh Jacobs, we'll talk about him a little bit in a second, but it's hard to see what's going to happen with Josh Jacobs because when you have literally no threat of a pass game, you could be the greatest running back of all time, minus Adrian Peterson, and still struggle. But yeah, to be fair, Adrian Peterson had some insane linemen. Green Bay doesn't have that kind of run blocking, neither does the Raiders, but yeah, that is a move. Christian Wilkins was probably the number one free agent that I can think of, that was realistically gettable. Obviously Chris Jones, but it was pretty much guaranteed that he was going to at least be tagged. And then Jonah Jackson with insane money. The guard market is crazy right now. Don't get me wrong, he's not a bad guard, but he's not this feels top 5 guard in the league money right now. So this increased salary cap situation is getting wild. But yeah, Jonah Jackson to the Rams. They need to do something. Their team it's got a lot of holes, and offensive line is definitely one of them. Then you move on to Darnell Savage. I'm not going to talk too much about this as a Packers fan. He just, he had a good rookie year, kind of like Clinton Dix, and just did nothing after that. He had one really good game last year, but for the most part, coverage rating's bad. Can't catch, apparently, and then tackling. Basically Deion Sanders tackling, but nothing else Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders tackling, that's it. The Jaguars always love these kind of fill in, he'll get the job done type safeties. They don't really go for the top names. Remember how much they paid Rayshon Jenkins? That's a lot of money. And then we move on Josh Jacobs. I still don't know what the money is. I had a dent disappointment and came back, and I still don't know the damn money. Okay, I don't know how true this is, but it says NFLTradeRumors.com says a 4-year 48, which I don't know if I think that's true or not. Obviously, he had a down year, and he's still really in his prime. A lot of the contracts you're seeing 29 is usually the age, so that would kind of make him 30, maybe even slightly older than 30 in some months. I don't know if that's a contract that makes sense for him and his agent, but maybe the guarantees were in there. It makes sense. It's okay, if we're going to have one last good contract, we might as well just make it right now and right here with a team that for the most part, treats its players well, right? Usually, I mean, Aaron Jones seems to be a crazy outlier right now. Usually, you're a good teammate, you're a valuable player, and you get a contract longer than most people should, right? You get to stick around longer at your age than most people do at the position. So, 4-year 48 would make sense. I think. I just don't know what the guarantees are like, or the front or back loading, like the Xavier McKinney contract, I think is $25 million in the first year, which makes a lot of sense because right now Jordan Love's number isn't going to be that high. I think it's going to be something around 20. So when you have to pay Jordan Love, you'll at least have some wiggle room by paying, your guys front loaded right now. And then of course the Eagles, I believe they lose Fletcher Cox to retirement. And I think Hassan Reddick is gone, but I don't know if he signed anywhere. But they do it again anyways, and they get Bryce Huff, who had a really good season last year for the Jets, a 3-year 51.1. The Jets seem to just pump out talent at edge, so I can see why you would go with a Jets edge rusher. Bryce Huff is a great addition, very athletic, and once again had a really good season. So the Eagles don't know where they're finding this money, but it's apparently unlimited. And then you have the biggest money of the day in Kirk Cousins joining the Falcons. The Falcons are done. They're not doing the Desmond Ridder, the Taylor Heineke bull crap. They're not grabbing random players and hoping they work out. They are done with it. They say, hey, the Vikings might be mad with I can only play at 12 o'clock and, I'm not that good in the playoffs. We want him. We want him. And even then, it's hard to say because the last playoff game that Kirk Cousins had, it was really the defense that sucked, right? 24 points, sure, it's against the Giants, but the Giants have always had a better defense than a better offense anyways. So putting up 24 points on a good defense for them, kind of, when they did, is, it's good enough, right? 8 missed throws out of 39, almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Usually that's good enough to win a playoff game. I just think the Vikings just don't have a defense, right? And I'm not saying the Falcons do, but they don't have to worry about their offense, really. They've got some talent at the running back spot. They got talent at receiver. They got a great tight end if they can use them right. And Kirk Cousins obviously seems to know how to use the tight end as TJ Hawkinson's him. But with all that being said, it is still a worse offense. It is not as good of an offensive line. The receiving threats are not as good. Running back is, but it is technically a worse offense, but when you're switching from team to team, there is a lot worse teams that he could have joined. Definitely a lot worse. And Kirk Cousins, the guaranteed money man, comes away with another, I think, $100 million here at 35 years old off of a big injury. The dude, I can't really even say blessed because, you gotta work to get where you are in the NFL, but he blessed. And then we have Saquan Barkley, who I think got a 3-year, $37.75, which puts him in the top 5 for running back contracts. Obviously some risk there with some injury concerns, but once again, that's the same thing that happened with DeAndre Swift. He played the full season, was perfectly fine behind that O-line, and that's going to be a problem. Super strong legs, helping the tush push with Jalen Hurts. Oh man, as long as he doesn't get hurt doing that, they have a problem on offense, and obviously, once again, we talked about they don't really need a dynamic back, but they're going to get one. Doesn't really matter if they need one or not. They are going to get one. Into the division rival Eagles. Seen some Tiki Barber, Saquon Barkley, back and forth talk, but I really don't know what that's about. Unless Saquon was flipping the middle finger out as he was leaving, I don't see why. It's a business. The Giants clearly weren't treating him right. So, go to a team that's going to give you some guaranteed money, which is the big thing he was talking about. And I understand that too. I know there might be some salty Giants fans, but I've seen a few people wishing injury on him. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I know it's a high draft pick to use on a running back, but at the end of the day, Saquon tried. He was carrying what we would like to call a dumpster fire for a while. And, you're going to get injured being toted as hard as he was. So, with a bad O-line as well. So, there's really no one that could be mad. You can be mad, but you can't be like, I hope you tear every ACL you have, Mr. Saquon mad. That's a little too far. And then the Patriots, oh my lord. For the Patriots, this is like going out and getting Rodgers, Julio in their prime, all these players. This is the craziest signing of all time for them. Going with Antonio Gibson, their fastest player in the last 10 years. Not really, but offense, they are a very slow team. They have been for a while. Even re-signed Hunter Henry, I'm pretty sure. But Antonio Gibson, this is kind of a nothing burger. The Patriots do still have a pretty good running back, but until they fix that passing game, the quarterback situation, it really doesn't mean a whole lot. This is Gibson's hoping he can just turn it around and make some money on a new team. but not expecting to win anything move. The Patriots are really just in a hellhole right now, and I think it is smart to save your money when you're in a spot like that. And of course, the worst news of all, Aaron Jones being released. I know they were trying to work on a deal with him, try to take him, get him a pay cut. I kind of get it though, because for both sides, obviously for the Packers, because if you're moving on, you're trying to get someone younger, and you don't really see Aaron Jones as a more than a 1 or 2 year guy. It makes sense to try and, get him cheaper, keep him on the team to make a run. But from the other side of it, it makes sense that Aaron Jones and his agent would be like, now hold on here. My boy's 29 years old. I mean, how many good contracts do you think he has left in him? Realistically here, we might move on for a 2 or a 3 year from some team willing to pay to win now because they know how good Aaron Jones is. But yeah, just some injury concerns and the cap situation. Green Bay's trying to stay younger, the youngest team in the league last year. You've heard us Packers fans talk about it 24/7. It makes sense to keep getting younger, but unfortunately, a real one is leaving Green Bay. Like I said, I feel like it would make a lot of sense to go to the Patriots, but also the Chargers, right? Eckler, it's like a new Eckler. Aaron Jones still has a bit left in the tank, and he is really good and underrated, so we'll see what happens to Aaron Jones, but man, that does suck. He's the definition of a Packer. Blake Cashman going to the Vikings, that I seen something about him living in Minnesota or something, growing up in Minnesota. So that's kind of a cool move. Nothing crazy, but it's pretty good money. It's it's the kind of free agent money we're seeing. And then look at this one. Robert Hunt, the coolest touchdown of all time that never was. A 5-year 100. These guards are getting paid, but obviously did have a really good year. These career years are really just killing the open market, but he's a good player. Came out, and free on the time. He didn't come out. I mean, maybe he did. I don't know. That's his prerogative, but perfect timing to come into free agency needing a contract because, man, that's money. That is money, and obviously the Panthers look like they're trying to actually give Bryce Young a chance. Then you got Jeff Okudah, 1 year, 6 to the Texans. I like that move. It's cheap. Obviously, Jeff Okudah, there's injury concerns there too, but for the most part, he's a role player. He's not bad. And then, of course, the big contract, 4-year, 68 to Xavier McKinney, who was, I believe, graded the highest coverage guy and one of the highest tacklers, which if you compare to Savage, I think he was like in the 50s for coverage. I think McKinney was somewhere in the like 80s or 90s for coverage, and then Savage was like in the 60s, so huge change there. I know a lot of Packers fans are like, just, sign someone like Bird or I keep calling him Bird. It's not Jarius Bird. It's freaking Kevin Byard. Get someone Kevin Byard cheaper. I think 2-year 15 to the Bears is where he went in the end anyways. And then, get some drafted safeties. But the problem is, it's a pretty weak safety class, and Green Bay really, even though they're a really young team, they are kind of built to win now. They have some talent. You look at a guy like Dontavian Wicks, one of the best guys against man coverage last year in the entire league. They actually have something brewing in Green Bay, and I think the front office sees that, trying to get Xavier McKinney, trying to protect the secondary, obviously, because the Packers have had some of the worst safety play in some time. I know was it Jonathan Owens? I think Jonathan Owens. No. Yeah, Rudy Ford, I'm pretty sure I'm thinking of, had a pretty good season, but they have not had a guy like Xavier McKinney since, I don't even know, like Nick Collins, maybe? I'm trying to think. Like Morgan Burnett had a couple of decent years, I suppose. But that is a huge move, getting Xavier McKinney. I know the Eagles are trying to get him too, and the Eagles love their safeties. But yeah, very, very decent signing there. It's expensive, but it's front-loaded, so once again, it shouldn't affect the team going forward. It's like a 3-year 45 realistically going forward, I believe, or 3 or 43 going forward, which is not bad, actually. And then Devin Singletary, I think this was a cheap move, 6-year 18 or something like that. Devin Singletary is a pretty good running back. Is he like your every down back? Probably not, but he'll probably be more healthy than Saquon, I imagine. And the Chargers getting Gus Edwards. I still don't know if that's them done at running back. I feel like they definitely want a guy that can catch the ball. So Aaron Jones has got to be the first guy. Like, the moment they heard Aaron Jones is going to be a free agent, surely they were calling his agent, right? Like, surely it's, hey, $7 million per? Come on. It's 3-year 21, 15 guarantee. Come on. And, I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but it would make so much sense for him to go there or to Dallas, especially since Dallas can't stop Aaron Jones. So maybe he's just going to be a god in Dallas at all times while actually playing for them. Geno Stone, 2-year $15 to the Bengals. That is very good value. The Bengals DBs, Daxton Hill hasn't really worked out yet, so I like that. That's a really good move, and it's not that bad for how much? Oh, it is 4-year $48. Fair enough. Okay. Gardner Minshew to the Raiders. That cannot be their answer. If it is, why do they even sign Christian Wilkins? Because they're going to waste him and Max Crosby anyways. But new quarterback in Vegas. Then a 2-year $20 to the Niners. They're going to have Leonard Floyd playing like the god of edge rush with Nick Bosa over there. As with an elite pass rusher on his team, Leonard Floyd's actually put up some pretty good seasons. With Aaron Donald and whatnot. So, interesting signing. They've been trying to find someone opposite side of, or just not even opposite side, but just in general, another good pass rushing player for a while. Eric Armstead, I believe, is gone, and obviously the move of, what's his damn name, from the Eagles, that was not a great move for them so far. Hargrave, that's who it is. Hargrave was not really the best of moves. And then there's not really a whole lot more here. Frankie Louvu to the Commanders, not a bad pass rusher. Epinesa back to the Bills. Zadarius Smith to the Browns. He's a pretty good pass rusher when he's not a distraction. And then we have Austin Eckler going to the Commanders. This is a fresh one, apparently. Brian Burns officially actually traded to the Giants. A 5-year $150, so $30 million per. That's a little high, but it's up there for edge rusher. A 2nd and 5th round pick. Felt like it was going to cost a little bit more than that, especially since they kind of denied the Bears Brian Burns in that original trade for Bryce Young, basically. But that is a big move. The Giants get an edge rusher, which is a big addition. Austin Eckler to the Commanders, obviously cheap because he definitely has taken a step back. This is, like I said, maybe not even need to be a 3 or 21, but Aaron Jones to the Chargers would be a move and a half. We also do have the Jerry Jeudy to the Browns trade, which was like really low draft picks, I believe. But Brian Burns to the Giants was a move that was kind of rumored for a few hours, apparently, and it finally came through. But I think for now, unless I forgot anyone, I think that's basically it. Oh, we also have Awuzie to the Titans. And Sean Murphy-Bunting to the Bills. I'm pretty sure they got pretty good value on Bunting, a 3-year $25. And then Awuzie, we don't know. But Awuzie is a pretty good cornerback. He was actually pretty good for the Bengals for a few seasons. I got Bayadaz to the Commanders for a 3-year $30. And we also had Van Ginkel to the Vikings for a 2-year $20, which is pretty good value because he actually is pretty good and he's versatile. And the Vikings, I don't know what they want to do on defense, it seems. But yeah, Thibodeau with Brian Burns is definitely going to be a duo, especially with Dexter Lawrence already there. Deonte Banks, we'll see what happens with him. And obviously the Giants are going to need a new safety, but their defense is not really the problem. If they can get a quarterback that just isn't super awful and maybe an extra wide receiver, they're a sleeper team. They're definitely a sleeper team. I would like for them to stop making moves, though, because I'm trying to think of which franchise team I want to use for Madden 25, but as of right now, it's kind of hard to decide. But let me know what you guys thought of all the moves. Who was the biggest move, in your opinion? I still think it's probably Jacobs to the Packers, because without Jones, it's a different team. Aaron Jones, for a while, early on, when Green Bay was struggling, he was like the only receiving threat. Like, Jordan Love was struggling to get to the receivers. They were struggling to separate. And Aaron Jones was just always open in the pass game, which is why I think, especially the Chargers, but maybe the Cowboys would be a good fit for him. And it really does suck losing him. I just wish that Jones would have just stuck around. Could you imagine Jones and Jacobs? Oh, that would have... How is this a thing? How is this all of a sudden here? But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys enjoyed this one, maybe leave a like, subscribe if you're new. I hope it's not too long a video because I did a lot of Yapatron. Don't know if I would have done the Bisons franchise just yet. But definitely be on the lookout for that. And if there's players you want to talk about more in the comment section below and, how they fit or, what move you think should be next. And, I can't believe this team got rid of this guy. Oh, wow, what a move that was for this team. We can keep it going in the comment section below. And I'll probably, like I said, do some sort of rebuild, relating to one of these teams tomorrow. Maybe the Packers. Like I said, I think they've had the biggest offseason, whether that's with gains and losses or just in general. But let me know. Maybe we do 2 rebuilds. So let me know what teams you guys like to see the most. And that's about it. Don't know when that Bisons franchise up, but sometime today. Hope you guys come back for next video. But until next video, See ya!